Hi, everyone. I'm here with Kohenet Annie Matan. I'm Kohenet Deborah Grenn, and we're very excited to be together on the occasion of our first anniversary of recording Priestessing the Priestesses, and now that has morphed into Tending Lilith's Fire, which you are currently watching or listening to. And thanks to Annie, we are slowly getting up the priestessing videos of the past year onto the YouTube channel as well, and many, many thanks, Annie.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's so exciting. We've been doing this a year. So we've been meeting to talk and sometimes record our conversations almost every Friday for just over a year now. And it feels like an important thing to celebrate.
Yeah, it really does. In the kind of year we had, and just in terms of our own work schedules and play schedules, to even carve out this time on a regular basis every week, I think is something of a miracle and something I'm very grateful for. It's been a
Um,
wonderful collaboration, and we're excited to continue it. So
yes.
we're going to be posting on the YouTube channel on the description of today some of the people who have we've interviewed over the past year and what they've contributed and what kinds of topics we have covered. And as always, we really look forward to your comments and your suggestions about topics you'd like to see us address.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am excited too that celebrating a year, it's like our birthday. And so we get to set some wishes and intentions for what we are carrying forward as we celebrate. We've made it a year and we're still going.
Right. Going strong.
So we decided to pull some cards and do a reading with you all today, for you all today. We are pulling from, we're drawing inspiration from two different decks. From the Netivot Wisdom et at, I always get the order of these wrong. I call it the Kohenet deck, but it's one deck. It's a deck made by a Kohenet, Katsira Lesser. There are others. And I've pulled the et at spread, which is a spread that is good for periods of time. So like, okay, we're starting a year. So here are some guidance and intentions for the year ahead. And this spread invites us to pull from one of each of the suits, a vessel, an ally, and an offering. So yeah, I did that. And I'm going to show, for those of you who are listening, check the email or comments, depending on where you're finding this, for a picture of the cards that were pulled, because those who are on video will get to see them on screen. So the first card in the suit of the vessel. So this is, who are we invited to embody today and every day as we go forward? And this card is the Shamaness, or Balat Ov. And the invitation that she offers us is to decipher the ways of the universe. And the Shamaness in Kohenet tradition is the spirit vessel. So she's the medium, the psychic, the channeler of messages, the one who shares wisdom from deep intuition, whether from her own or from spirit or divinity, and sort of bringing that more fully into the world. And I'm sure Deborah has more to add about this archetype.
But go ahead, because I know we don't have much time today. So
No, it's okay. So yeah, for me, the blessing is just a reminder that we have wisdom through and inside of us, and to lead from that place, to embody the knowing that we have that wisdom from within and through us, in all of the decisions we make and all the ways we step forward in the coming year.
And I think our challenge in that is to keep our vessel, our channel clear and open enough to receive so that we can transmit. And especially in modern times, and if we live especially also in urban areas, I think it is a real challenge to keep that channel open and clear, and to know how to clear it when it gets overly full of especially things that don't serve us or anybody.
Do you want to give, since you've laid down the challenge, Deborah, do you want to give a couple of suggestions for when people are like, oh, I wish I could tap in, but maybe that's the issue. Maybe my channel's not clear. These are things, check out those videos as they come up on Priestessing the Priestesses, because We do talk about some of these things there. So they're available. They will be, if they're not yet, available on our YouTube channel. I'm getting them up as we go.
But
Go ahead,
in
Deborah.
terms of a couple of things, we've recently talked about vulnerability and about rest. And so, for example, if that channel gets clogged with self-shaming or some sort of embarrassment or grief or anger, we cannot operate at our fullest potential, obviously, whether we are oracular or not. Regardless, that is a channel that needs to stay as clear as possible, just for our health. It's, as we talk about on the tree of life, with the energy, the divine and human energy attributes, keeping the two sides of us and all the sphirot, those energy essences, in alignment to be healthy and whole human beings. And rest is, so I think, I was going to say, so I think being able to be vulnerable helps release shame. And also, we can't necessarily get there and even allow ourselves to be that open unless we have already done some work on releasing years of other imposed or self-imposed shame and internalized oppression. On the one we most recently did on rest, that's also major. I mean, the only way I will slow down often is to just take a break. If it's 15 minutes, just to lie down and shut out everything to the degree possible. And sometimes the cats are keeping me awake. And so I'm sort of, but I'm still shifting my energy into a play mode. But there are days that I just pass right out for that 15 minutes because my body and mind need to rest. And so I can wake up with an entirely new perspective. And those times, just as in the morning when you first wake up and you're in that still that liminal space, that dream state, I think is a wonderful time to be at, a potent time that we can channel. Whether or not we're transmitting to someone else or not, almost irrelevant, because whatever brainstorms we have in those moments, whatever symbols we remember from our dreams, I find it really important to record them, by the way. And
we're gonna get to dreams.
Yes.
Because that's one of our cards, actually.
Okay, then I'm going to let you go, and I'll stop because I know we have time constraints today.
We'll come back to that. I just want to add one piece about you mentioned, when we are sort of full up with emotion, it's hard to channel clearly. And so another step in the process of clearing is to let ourselves feel our emotions fully. And to express that anger safely, I think we've talked about this before, hitting pillows, twisting blankets, dancing, yelling. And if you don't have anywhere you can go, you can yell into a pillow. That's, for anger, letting ourselves cry when we're sad, letting ourselves also move joy and excitement through our bodies, not just shutting it down, but letting it be in its full expression so that it can move through us and leave us open.
Yes, thank you. I did get off topic there, but I just, now that you brought it back to tools and ways of doing that, I just want to mention a phrase that I've just heard, I think for the first time, of forest bathing.
Oh gosh, I think this phrase is ridiculous. What it means is go outside.
Right.
Be around trees.
Right. It's nothing we didn't already know, but how those things, being around trees, can help our health on every level. But yeah, it's in the vernacular. It's in the the popular culture now. And yes, the idea is sounds a bit ridiculous, but because it's nothing we didn't know, and yet we don't always do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to bring that in as a reminder to whether you are embarrassed or just feel weird about being called a tree hugger, however you see that, to be near a tree, to be in the woods, to be in your garden is one of the most helpful things, I think, for restoring our soul pretty quickly.
And you don't have to have access. Oh, sorry.
Having our hands and feet in the earth, literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you don't have to have access to woods or a forest. If you're in a city, a patch of grass will do. Sit down on a patch of grass or put your hand on a tree. I actually just did this the other day. I was in downtown Toronto on a walk and I saw some trees that just reminded me of, they were in the middle of the city and made it felt like a grove. And I went and hugged the tree. And I was like, people are walking by and they were going to think I'm weird and I don't care.
Right. And a lot's been discussed now and written about from a science point of view, but we already know this too, the effect of having your bare feet on the earth.
Yes.
And it doesn't take very long for that to transmute us. Yes.
Right.
All right.
So these, it's funny where the card was be a channel, basically. And we're saying, in case you're having trouble being a channel, here are some things you can do so that you can return to your natural state of being able to be a channel.
Yeah.
And the second card is the Weaver, the Oreget. And she says, interweave the personal and the cosmic. And I find this card usually comes up in readings with people who feel like they have to keep parts of themselves or their lives separate or disparate. And there's a message here of we can be integrated humans.
Okay, you froze just now, so I hope you will return soon. I'm putting that in chat. Maybe you'll see that. So we can be integrated humans, and that is the ally card to support the vessel. And Annie, we have lost you. So I think maybe we need to pause the recording right here. Okay, we had a little wind interruption from Oya wanting some attention. And so we're continuing here. And you were talking about the Weaver card as ally.
Yes. So a reminder that we can be all parts of ourselves. And so if you find yourself separating, I like this personal and cosmic right now because we're talking, a lot of us are talking about the 3D and the 5D, the parts that feel grounded in quote unquote reality and the parts that feel more connected to the spiritual realm. And that all of these parts of us are us, we are whole. And we're being reminded and invited to surround ourselves with folks who help remind us that actually, I feel like the example from the Shamaness card, it's like, to do the channeling, we also need to do the clearing, like make sure our vessels are well tended in order to do the spiritual work. And I know you want to add something, Deborah.
No, I'm just listening. I'm just
okay.
The ally as support.
Yeah, the ally as community, human support. Who are the people in your life who help remind you of your gifts and groundedness, all of it.
Yeah. And the offering?
The offering is the prophetess, the Neviah. And here we come back to dreams because she says, explore the power of your dreams. And so the offering is like what you bring to the altar, the tool that you can use in service to this. And I want to say, not just your sleeping or daydreaming dreams, but also our waking dreams as we are co-creating the world of our dreams. So we need to really pay attention to what we're dreaming forth.
Indeed. And that can also often be triggered by what we fall asleep thinking about. And so if you set intention as you go to sleep, that often can help guide our dreams as well. All right, so great. And then we were talking about pulling a card for our intentions for the year, or for, I was thinking when I did it, the essence of, also where we are now, but what we want to continue to manifest. And so I used Alana Fairchild's Journey of Love. Oops, which
Here, I'll also hold this up.
That works better. And Annie has the deck to show us the card, or we will post that also on the channel. What I pulled was Sweet Soul Rising, and I'll just read you a few lines from there. You may feel lost in your own thoughts and feelings. This is the sweetness of surrender into another world, which we often resist, but which is so valuable. It's a time to dream, to wonder, not to be clear and sharp right at this precise moment. And I also think that's really important, because sometimes we kick ourselves because we can't be focused enough. Our energy, our netzach is lacking, is dragging behind. And it's okay, and in fact, very beneficial at times to be able to sit in the unknown. And we've all had to do it this past year. And we have often found gifts in that. But having the patience to sit there, especially if we're very goal-oriented, is a challenge. So.
And this is a perfect day. I feel like that card kind of ties up the reading really nicely. And also today, for those who are counting the Omer, is Hod Shibahod, is is release, surrender, let go. Within, release, surrender, let go. And another word that people use for Hod is awe, and you know, that sense of awe and wonder, and like what happens when we remember that there is something, there's some power that's way bigger than us, and we can just let go of the need to be in control and to have all the answers, and open to what can be shown to us in that space that that we open to.
And it's interesting because of the surrender aspect, that it is also, according to Rabbi Nadia Gross, it's also about spiritual leadership, that particular human and divine attribute of Hod. And so humility and empathy and letting go as ways of also growing into our spiritual leadership, I think is an interesting point to make. And I don't think it'll show up here very much, but I also want to just give a shout out to Gold Herring, who have put out a wonderful book for counting the Omer, but it's a self-care workbook. So they give a teaching, a mindfulness piece, a blessing, and then a place to just work with the attributes of the day. So you can find that at goldherring.com.
Yeah, and we'll put a link to that in the description of the video. Whew, I just want to take a breath. We both have we schedule this time in our calendar every week, even though you don't get to see our video live or at the time that we schedule it for. We're often squeezing it in between things, and you know, I guess we're modeling that that's life.
Right.
And I just want to, take a breath and say it's a pleasure to get to do this with Devorah, and to get to show up for all of you who are listening and watching. And I'm curious, please share with us in the comments or in response, wherever you hear or see this. How does this reading strike you? If you think we're way off base, we'd love to hear your reading. And how does it resonate with you?
And some of you may be doing readings around Beltane, which is tomorrow. I also invite you, if you want to know more about anything we've talked about, to go to lilithinstitute.com, which is also on the About piece of our YouTube channel, and subscribe to the Lilith Institute newsletter. I especially give a shout out, so I won't do it at great length here, but in great gratitude to you, Annie, for taking this risk of just sort of jumping off into this somewhat unknown and fascinating collaboration after we had not had contact for, I think, 14 years. So we both took a leap of faith, and yeah. So, I mean, we've had some contact, but not seen each other. It's been like Instagram.
Well, there was that one time at Olive, but it's been, we had a desire, both, I mean, you reached out to me, but it felt like the universe was answering a desire I had for partnership in being able to talk about these things. So it's been a blessing and a pleasure, and we're still going, which I'm really excited about.
We are. And I just have to say one thing, since we just talked about rest, that yes, it showed how life is and the ability to squeeze things in that we're passionate about. There are some weeks missing, which you'll see from when you look at all the episodes on the channel, because there were some weeks we just did not have what we needed to come out into the world with any particular conversation, but we still supported each other and discussed what was up for that day, and our ability to be flexible enough to do that and not have to stick to a schedule that we felt bound to, I think, was a very valuable teaching for both of us. So thanks for being here, and hope to see your comments soon.
Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you're tuning into this. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.